Okay, for the owner representation, owner represent that unless otherwise specified in the writing, owner is unaware of number one, a recorded notice of default affecting the premises. Two, any delinquent amount due under the loan secured by or other obligation affecting the premises. Three, any bankruptcy, insolvency, and similar proceeding affecting the premises. Four, any liquidation, arbitration, administrative action, government investigation, or other pending threatened action that does or may affect the premises of an owner ability to lease, rent, or transfer it. Five, any current pending proposed special assessment affecting the premises. Owner should promptly notify broker in writing if owner become aware of any of these items during the listing period of any extension or thereof. If the property have any issue from notice of default, so for example, the owner have no money to pay the mortgage, but the tenant, they still continue to pay the rent. Then who took the rent? Well, owner took the rent. Owner took the rent, but without paying the mortgage. But do you think as a tenant, can they stop the rent? Since the tenant, if they know the owners has a notice of default, no. Okay, tenant still need to continue to pay the rent. Okay, if the tenant did not pay the rent, then the owner, they can evict them, because I heard it before, and they say, well, since the owner, took my rent but without paying the mortgage, so I don't have to pay. Well, that's nothing to do with you, with the tenant. Okay, it's just the between the owner and lender's issue, not tenant and landlord's issue. So tenant still need to continue to pay even a notice of default, or any delinquent amount. If the owner for some reason have any delinquent, for example, if the owner didn't pay the HOA, well, that's considered delinquent. Or the owner filed a bankruptcy. Okay, those are, you need to notify us, listing agent, right away. Or any litigation, arbitration. Why? Because, for example, if the owner suing the HOA, usually the litigation happen, or suing the neighbor. I heard some of a neighbor is pretty weird, what I can say. They're suing the neighbor because the leaves falling to their landscape. Yeah, in the front yard. And because he cleaned up the front yard and hurt his back. And later on they have argument. So end up the neighbor hurting the back, suing the one that's the leaf falling, to their ground, their landscape. So I don't know how they can become neighbors later on, because he's suing the next door neighbor. That's pretty bad. So that could be the litigation, or if they maybe have any arbitration, or any government investigation pending threatened action. Like what? For example, could be like if the next door is a neighbor and they plant marijuana. That's an illegal substance, when you plant it at home. So if you have those issues, you have to notify the listing agent, because they were affecting the desirability for lease the property. But at least, before we put on the listing, still, same thing, check on the title, check the real list. Check the real list and find out if any notice of default or any bankruptcy recorded on the title for this property. Okay. Number 12, tax withholding. If the owner is not a California resident of a corporation or LLC qualified to conduct the business of California, owner authorized broker to withhold and transmit the California Franchise Tax Board 7% of a gross payment of the owner that exceed $1,500 received by the broker, unless owner complete and transmit the broker FTP form 589. Non-resident reduce withholding request FTP form 588. Non-resident withholding waiver FTP form 590 withholding exempt certificate. So what's telling you? If the basically we cannot and we will not manage the property, because if you do manage the property, you should, as a broker or property management, they should withholding the income. What? Rental income. Just like, if somebody getting the W-2 form, why the company withholding your tax? It's because they need to report it. Same thing. Your rent is supposed to be income. So if you have the property management manage on that and make sure if it's not a California residence or it's owned by the corporation or LLC, then the property management company has a right to withhold 7% of the income, the total rent. So later on, they need to report it to franchise tax board. That's because of the California rule. Management company. I don't manage anything. Just like yesterday's people said, do you manage a property? No, I don't, because that's too much hassle. Second, that's only the franchise tax board, okay? If the owner is non-resident, that's even worse. Foreigner. How many foreigners invest the property? A lot. And whoever managed that property need to withholding. Look at how many percent. The owner is non-resident alien individual and a foreign entity of the other non-U.S. persons. Foreign investment owner authorized a broker to withhold, transmit to Internal Revenue Service, IRS, 30% of a gross rental received. 1/3 almost. Property management company need to withholding a 1/3 of an income if it's a foreigner investment property, if they hire the property management company. So that's why we don't want to touch it. If we withholding, okay, if we do not withholding, whose fault is that? Yeah, I become a property manager. I'm not withholding, and you are the foreigner. I'm against, it's a felony. Okay? If the property management company did not withhold the tax from the foreigner, it's a felony. And they can, not only they just close the business with the penalty and someone have to go to jail. Okay? If they found out, you did not withholding, for the foreigner investment property. If they manage by themselves, none of my business. That's why we tell the homeowner, say, look, I will find a tenant for you, and you collect the rent yourself. Whatever you want to do, none of my business. Because this is for broker. And property management, they are the broker too. They must have a broker license to open a property management company. They are the broker too. If as long as they are the real estate broker, they need to withholding. So that means not only 30% for IRS, what else? 7% for franchise tax board. Because you are not a California resident, right? The foreigner definitely is not California resident. So you got a total withholding 37%. So it's more than 1/3 now. And do you think is that the investor, they will be pissed? Yes. Remember how many foreigner invest the property in Eastvale? A few years back, a lot. How many is hired by the property management? Well, I know quite a few agents that manage. They technically they all against this rule because they did not withholding 37%. Okay. Why they cannot withholding? First of all, they're just agent, they're not broker. And if they really if the IRS or franchise tax board, who is in trouble? Not only agent in trouble, the brokerage in trouble, because they practice without the broker without notice of the agent practicing as a manager. So that's why Quan telling us, no way you guys can manage any property. If you manage, you're fired. Period. You cannot use RE/MAX 2000 to manage any property at all. If you establish your own company, well, not like, for example, I'm the broker. I can establish my own company. But my company has to be brokerage. Real estate brokerage, not any company, not any LLC or any corporation. It has to be get another license for a real estate brokerage. Then I can manage. What trouble? Right? I can tell you, on RE/MAX 2000, 1/3 of the agent, we all broker license. 1/3. Why we don't open our brokerage? Just look at it. So much trouble. Not only you gotta have the insurance, you gotta have to pay more fee for the mortgage brokerage. I know a lot of Asian, especially Chinese, they be their own broker running their own business. Yeah. But how many did they really apply for their own brokerage? Yeah. Huh? 我们不行. Yeah. No, because other side, they all, they are not the, Asian. But I mean, that's why the whole training, I have to go through the English. Yeah. So that's why it's so much trouble on that. We don't want to open any. But I mean, don't worry. You're too early to consider that. Okay? You don't have to worry about that. So that's why, that's the rule. When you sign a listing, especially with a foreigner, you better tell them, you manage your own property. Okay? Not me. If you want me to be manager of the property, I rather don't lease the property for. Go find someone else or find the property management company, because I'm against the tax rule. Okay? That's the issue. But a lot of an agent doesn't know. When you sign a lease listing agreement, did you thoroughly read it? No. This is a really important paragraph. So the gross rental receipts, unless owner elected to treat it, the rental income as effective connected income by submitted the broker a full compliance IRS form, WAECI. So if the foreigner, they have to fill out the WA form. Certificate of foreign person claim to exemption for the withholding on income connected with the conduct of trade business in the United States. A foreign investor owner will need to obtain a U.S. taxpayer's ID, tax ID number. If they need to report it, they got to apply for the tax ID number since they don't have a social security number. And file declaration with the IRS regarding effectively connected income in order to complete the form given to the broker. Further, the foreign investor owner will be responsible for making any necessary estimating tax payment. So that means if they want to file their own tax, okay, they better have their accountant issue the letter and also give us to the broker and tell them, they are going to exempt for that, the WAECI. You got to give us a form so the brokerage would not withholding, and the IRS will not hold us as a liability, not withholding. And that's rental income. If you collected rental income for your, yes, that's really considered as property manager. Later on, you'll see that our lease agreement, not only we have a rental agent, the tenant's agent, listing agent, and property management brokerage, and plus a property agent. Everybody need a real estate license number on the lease agreement. Everybody. So if you say, if I'm the agent, but which brokerage you got to put? You can put RE/MAX 2000. I mean, you can be a property manager. You better apply for another brokerage for yourself, ABC Real Estate Company, and another license number. So that means you got to pay another fee to the DRE. Sure. I mean, See, if I under the REMAX 2000 as an independent contractor, we are not employee by our company. We are the independent contractor. When we signing the agreement with the company, our brokerage, we are not their employee. That's why we get 1099, because we are the independent contractor. If anything wrong with it, we got to deal with it. Okay? Broker will not go to jail with us. You are. All right? So if we make any mistake, don't expecting our brokerage will save us. Got it? So that's why only individual agent get in the jail, not broker. Because you practice illegal or you ignore the rule. Broker will get penalized for the fund, for the money, but they will not go to jail with you. Only agent will go in the jail. Okay? Do you think do I know somebody going to the jail? Yes. Yes. Felony. When a financial crisis or somebody illegally lying to the bank, the lender, even our previous co-worker went into jail. Okay? Yeah. So it's a lot of people, if he doesn't know the law, you may go to jail. No, because you are purposely, okay? You are intentionally lying to the lender or anybody or your principal, your owner or your buyer. If you are intentional lying to them, they don't tell them the truth, you go to jail. Okay, it's very serious. Our job is really, really serious. If you didn't really practice correctly, well. So you better follow, okay, our code of ethics and the rule. Otherwise, we're in trouble. That's why, the longer you practice, you get scary. So if some of a foreigner, they tell you to do the property management, do the property manager, you show them this. I can't. I just cannot manage your property. Because I don't have a brokerage, not a brokerage to manage for you. Even I'm the broker. But I don't have a brokerage, another brokerage to manage for the company. So even I love to, but I can't. Yeah, that's how you refuse them. I can't. I said, do you want me to withholding your money? 90, I can tell you 99% they won't. They don't want you to withholding money. It's not, it's 30% plus 7%, total 37%. More than 1/3, you got a withholding. Yeah. Not only that, property management, they got to hire the accountant so they can disperse the money, send it to the IRS and franchise tax board. So it's a lot of hassle for being a property management. You think it's easy? Not easy. Unless you got about a couple hundred property to manage or 300, you don't really making money. Yeah, because you collect the fee. It could be $150, $200 per unit. I know some of Chinese the management company they could probably collect it as low as $100. I heard. Well, okay. Just see if they can survive. Yeah, you gotta have a lot, But did they withholding tax? We don't care. I don't manage. I don't want to take those risks. I rent it out. Yeah. If themselves, yeah. As long as they manage themselves, I don't care really. Because I don't collect money. This part is if you being a property management. Listing agent, if you want to be the property management, then you have to follow this rule. See, some of a property management company, they, if they call up with us, they say, hey, James, if you really want me to manage, I got to starting from beginning. Like what? Finding the tenant. They don't take, some of a management company, they don't take like, you find a tenant and they manage. No, they won't do that. They want to start from beginning. I say, fine. It's okay. I don't have to make this money anyway. All right. Broker and owner's duty. Broker agree to exercise a reasonable effort, a due diligence to achieve the purpose of this agreement, unless owner give the broker written instruction to contrary. Broker is authorized to advertise and market the premises of any medium selected by the broker, individual, MLS, and internet, and to the extent permitted by this media, including MLS, controlled by dissemination of the information submitted to any medium. Owner agreed to consider offers presented by broker and to act in good faith to accomplish the lease and rental of the premises by, among other things, making the premises availability to show at reasonable times and referring to the broker or inquire of any parties interested in the premises subject to 3G. Owners in the responsible for owner is responsible for determine of what price and terms and lease and rent and the premises. Owner further agreed to identify, define the whole broker harmless from all claim, dispute, litigation, judgment, attorney fee, costs arise from any incorrect or incomplete information supplied by owner, and from any material fact that owner know but fail to disclose, including dangerous hidden condition of the premises. So if the owner didn't tell us the property condition or a history of the property, then we are not liable for that. For example, if someone passed away inside a house and you rent it, do we need to disclose it? Yes. Natural death, same thing, 3 years, within 3 years, in writing. But over 3 years, legally, verbally, disclosed. Doesn't have to put black and white. But natural death, consider homicide, suicide, or accident. Like what accident? Pool accident. If the kid drowned or anybody drowned in the pool, in your backyard, it's unnatural death. You need to disclose forever. Okay, let's consider unnatural death. So it doesn't matter, you sell the property or lease the property, you all need to disclose. But if the owner doesn't tell you, how do I know? Then later on, tenant sue the listing broker. Wait, owner, you didn't tell me. Because if someone passed away inside the house, I will put it on. Or any accident, I will put on the listing agreement. So I'm protecting myself. Owner, you did tell me. And it's my responsible to pass it on to the new tenant. So I gotta have to put somewhere to document it. You actually do disclose. Okay. Well, usually tenant will sue the landlord directly, and plus, tenant's agent and listing agent, plus, okay, and tenant's broker and listing broker. So everybody on the same boat. So if you want to practice on the lease, I know money is not that much. I know some of the company, they are not even allowed their agent to practice rental. Our company, we can practice rental, lease, but we cannot manage. So that's why some of the investors, if they found the company, they are not allowed them to do their rental, they're pissed. Yeah, you tell me to invest, but you cannot do you cannot find a tenant for me. You cannot practice rental. Then I have to find another agent. Yeah. And I can tell you which company, close by, Century 21 Master. They don't allow their agent to practice rental at all. Whose rule? Brokerage. Broker's rule. You don't like it? Don't get in. Or you out. You fire. That's it. If any disclosure, yeah, and then not much we can do. So that's why you gotta be smart when you take. You ask landlord. That's a landlord's fault. Landlord or the owner, they are purposely hiding. Yeah, then we have no responsible. If you want to protect yourself, yes, you can sign this exemption. Okay, for the exempt for the seller. Okay, to disclose. Usually, if someone I know, or when I invest that property, so I know the history of the property, because that house, I had it since, when I help them to purchase, and they put a rent, everything, then definitely I know the history. But if someone refer me and I don't know that history of the house, yeah, I'll let them fill this. Just one page. That's actually the same questionnaire like SPQ. First page. And this form also, they can be filled in by those probate sales, because they never live in the property, or any bank-owned property. They can fill out this, or because they cannot really get exemption for that. Did I give you the copy on that? I think so. Yeah, exemption for the those questionnaire. No. The that's for the ESD, exemption of a seller disclosure. Did I give you that? Just one page though. You can find it and see if it's there. If not, I'll print it out. Yeah. Agency relationship. Okay, this we have to let the agent sign it first before we sign a listing agreement. Okay, any form you need to sign it. The very first form we need to sign it for the our client is agency disclosure. Otherwise, you are nobody. You are not their agent. Okay, without signing agency disclosure, you are not representing your listing, your client. Okay, it could be tenant, it could be landlord. If the listing is the tenancy is exceed of 1 year of a compensation of own to broker under paragraph 3E, owner acknowledge receive a disclosure regarding the real estate agency relationship form. So if more than 1 year, we require AD, agency disclosure. Usually we call the short term as rent. The longer term is lease. But if you translate to Chinese, very similar. English, different. Some people say, what's different between rent and lease? Same. One is a shorter term, one is a longer term. Just like when you lease the car. You take 2 years lease, 3 years lease. But when you go on an apartment, usually it's a short-term rent. So it's a rental property. Yeah. B, owner representation. Broker shall represent owner in any resulting transaction except as specified in paragraph 3G. So you can refer that back. Possible dual agent with a tenancy. Depending upon the circumstance, it may be necessary to appropriate the broker to act as an agent of both owner and tenant. Broker shall, as soon as practical, disclosure owner any election of the act and dual agent represent think both owner and tenant. If the tenant is procured directly by the broker or an associate licensee in broker's firm, owner hereby consent to broker acting as dual agent or owner and such tenant. So I would say 50% of a chance, if you're the listing agent, you will become a dual agent. For rental, 50%, that high. Listing, 10%. Yeah, but if you talk about rental, about 50%, sometimes even higher. Because the tenant, they just approach you directly when they found anything on the through Zillow, Trulia, or maybe you're for lease side. D, other owners. Owner understand that broker may have obtained the listing on other properties or that potential tenancy may consider make offers on or lease or rent through the broker. Premises the same as similar to owner's premises. Owner consent to broker representation of an owner and tenants and other property before, during, and after the end of an agreement. E, confirmation. If the premises include a residence property with 1 or 4 dwelling units and the agreed upon lease is for a tenancy is exceeded 1 year, broker shall confirm the agency relationship described above, or as modified in writing prior to the coincidence of an owner's and tenant's execution in such lease. So basically, if anything lasts than 1 year, we are not obligated to sign the AD, the agency disclosure. But did I leased the property for half year, 9 months, you know, on the lease, for the lease before, I still let them sign it anyway, anytime, you know, and when I representing to protect myself. But according the paragraph is have to be more than 1 year as required, it's obligated. But anything less than 1 year, probably I guess they are careless. You're signing the agency disclosure or not. 15, equal housing opportunity. Those are, you know, we all know that the premises are offering in the compliance with the federal, state, and local anti-discrimination law. So when we deal with like what? Section 8. Section 8 tenant. Those are, did you guys know what's a Section 8 tenant? Those are for the government assist tenant. For poor people. Poor tenant. Or do they have a Section 8 apartment? Yes. Like Roland High, they have 1 apartment complex just for Section 8. Or any have to be low income to be qualified for that, to live in the apartment, because their rent fee is cheaper than the market, whole lot cheaper. I think it's about probably half. Yeah, half price, about 50% off, 40 or 50% less than the market price, market rent. The one is 1 complex behind Hong Kong Supermarket Plaza, Hong Kong Plaza. They got 1 complex. It's for Section 8. And if the Section 8 people telling you, they was asking you, will landlord allow Section 8 or not? This is the toughest answer because I cannot say no. If I say no, am I discriminate? Equal housing opportunity. Equal. Do I equal? So when I see somebody ask me, oh, I don't know, I gotta have to ask landlord. Then I will not call them back. If I say no, well, it becomes landlord's issue. But why? But some of a very, very few landlords will accept the Section 8 because they are pretty much guaranteed the rent. So they are not afraid the tenant will not pay the rent. It's because government pay 80%, could be up to 90% of a total rent. And the tenant just pay 10 or 20% of the rent. But the issue is, because I deal with a Section 8 tenant before, the government has to come out to inspect your property to be qualified to their standard, Section 8 standard. Then and they apply and approve, and they will come back every year. And why landlord doesn't like it? You know, some of landlord doesn't report their income tax. I mean, yeah, no, the rental income, not income tax. Some of the owner, especially foreigner, they don't report their rental income. And if they rented to Section 8 and the check directly deposit to their bank, is that considered income? Yeah. But they never apply for the tax ID number. Uh-oh. Because they deal with the government. Even I know they are not related. The housing agency is not related to the IRS or franchise tax board. But it's a government agency. Okay? Yeah. But another thing is that when we have to let the Section 8 people go, it's also hard. Why you kick me out? Why you don't renew the lease with us? Oh, man. We paid the rent. We allow you to increase the rent. Why you kick me out? Oh, it's hard. Okay? Because I just deal with that situation one time. Enough. You spend at least a month. That's only the time, you know, when the rental market is not so good and you try to find any tenant if it's possible, then okay, they may consider Section 8. That's when the financial crisis happened, and a lot of rental they sit vacant over there. Why? Because a lot of investor they thought they can buy the property and they can flip, but when the market going down, they cannot flip. So they have to rent it out. So that's the only situation. You got a lot of rental property in the market. Then I say, okay, then would you consider Section 8? Yeah. When the market is getting better, all the landlords start kick out the Section 8 people. But that's the toughest part when you let them go, kick them out. Yeah. Even you don't want to renew the license, renew the lease with them. It's still hard. Regular tenant, oh, I'll give you 60 days so you can go. Not with the Section 8. Yeah. So be careful. You gotta have to when you don't want to ask some of sensitive question, because one of an agent, I say, how many people you gonna live in? Oh, I got da 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 da. How many people? So oh, I got 6 kids. Oh, I think, and I say, the way I think when we express, I say, well, this is a house is for too many of you to live in because they may against the fire marshal law. You gotta have to know how to reject it. But our coworker just, oh, you have too many kids. Is that discrimination? Yeah. And you know what the other phone said? Oh, I think the housing department will after you. And she got scared. They said, you just answered the wrong way. Okay? You claim I have too many kids. Is that your business? I got 6 kids. So what? Plus the parents, 8. I want to live in a 3-bedroom. Is that okay or not? 8 people. 3-bedroom property. So that's why, how do you reject them? I think, you know, they may against the fire marshal law. Okay, fire law. It's because legally it's 2 people per room. And I only have 3-bedroom. So that means they have to find a 4-bedroom property. Okay, you gotta have to be smart when people asking you those questions. Not only that, who knows? They are maybe a fake tenant. They just try to like mystery shopper to test all the broker and the agent. And if you answer wrong, hey, you just against the code of ethic. Okay, housing, equal housing opportunity. Okay, well then we're in trouble. Those mystery shopper. So you gotta be alert if when you receiving those phone calls, somebody asking you this and that. Okay, be careful what you say. 16, attorney fee in any action preceding the arbitration between the owner and broker to enforce and compensation provision of the agreement. The prevailing owner and broker should be entitled to reasonable attorney fee and costs from the non-prevailing owner or broker except provided in paragraph 20A. So if you really happen a lawsuit, okay. Any additional term, you can list it right here. And paragraph 18, management approval. If the salesperson or broker associate entering into the agreement on broker behalf and the broker manager does not approve of this item, broker manager has a right to cancel this agreement in writing within 5 calendar days after the execution. So if you're signing the listing and you tell me the situation and I look at your listing, if I don't feel comfortable with it, or the office manager doesn't feel comfortable with it, and I will cancel. I will tell you to cancel this listing. Yeah, because if I can foresee in trouble, our job is protecting you. (19) Successor and assign. The agreement shall be begin upon the owner and owner's success and assign. So I mean, usually we don't do that assignee, okay, in any successor or any assignee for the property. But I mean, it's owner has to be acknowledged. They have to be agreed. 20. Dispute resolution, mediation. Owner and broker agree to mediate any dispute and claim arising between them regarding the obligation to pay the compensation under this agreement before resorting the arbitration and court action. Mediation fee, if any, shall be divided equal amount of parties involved, if or any dispute or claim to which this paragraph apply. Any party, 1, commences a action without first attempt to resolve the matter through the mediation. 2, before commencement of the action, refuse to mediate after the request has been made. Then the party should not be entitled to recover attorney fee, even if they would otherwise be available to the party in any such action. Exclusion from this mediation agreement are specified in paragraph 20B. So they do have an exclusion. But I mean, any mediation, if you do not, some people doesn't want to go through mediation first. So the losing party, they are not responsible for winning party's attorney fee. They only need to pay their settlement fee. If you really want to skip the mediation, you go to the court directly or arbitration directly. So the losing party, I mean the winning party, they cannot recover their attorney fee. They got to pay it by themselves because you skip the process, the steps, mediation step. The exception for the B is additional mediation. The following matters shall be excluded from the mediation. 1, judicial or non-judicial foreclosure, other action or proceeding, enforced deed of a trust, mortgage, installment, land sales, contract as defined in civil code. Obviously, foreclosure. Ain't got no mediation. That's a court order. 2, unlawful detainers action. Got eviction. Why should I have to go through the mediation with the tenant? No. 3, the filing enforcement of a mechanical lien. If the owner owing anybody, the contractor, money, ain't got no mediation. Record it right away. So those are, you have to settle. 4, any matter of in writing the judicial of the probate, small claim, bankruptcy court, and the filing of a court action enabled to recording the notice of pending action. For order to attempt attachment, receivership, injunction, or other prevailing remedies shall not constitute a waiver and violation of the mediation provision. So those are the situations, they don't have to go through mediation. C, advisory. If the owner broker desire to resolve dispute arising between them through arbitration rather than court, they can document their agreement by attaching the assigning arbitration agreement. So after mediation, we go through arbitration. So you don't go to the court to save you the money. And another thing is that if you go to the court, the bad thing you go to the court is become a record for this property. So that means you cannot, it's basically, if you could keep it on mediation, arbitration has no record attached to the property. But once you get the any litigation, any lawsuit through the court, then you are recorded. Okay, so it become a record. Just yeah. Just like conviction. Okay, somebody if you are convicted crime, then if you have to wait until the court. If you go through, if you could whatever doing a settle, whatever smooth everything out, okay, settle with it. If you go to the court, become a record. Yeah, they cannot remove it once it's on record. Okay. 21, time essence. Entire contract and change. Time is of the essence. All understanding between the parties are incorporated in this agreement. Its terms are intended by the party as final, complete, and exclusion expression of their agreement. With respect to its subject matter, and may not be contradicted by evidence of a prior agreement or contemporaneous oral agreement. If any provision of this agreement is held to be ineffective or invalid, the remaining provision will nevertheless to given full force and effect. Neither this agreement nor any provision in it may be extended, amended, modified, altered, or changed except in writing. This agreement and any supplement, addendum, modification include any copy may be signed in two or more counterpart, all of which shall constitute one or the same writing. So once you finish the listing, the lease listing agreement or any listing agreement, can you change it? No. Okay. Once the both parties sign, date it, and you cannot change it anymore unless you want to modify. Yes, you could using other form and call modification of terms, and that will modify your listing agreement. You cannot just modify this form after they sign it. So you cannot changing the listing date, you cannot changing any commission if both parties are signed. You can, or any price. You can using the other zip form. They call the modification of terms to modify, to extend the listing period, to modify the loan, to modify the listing for the listing amount, or commission, or anything, or any other you need any changes. You just cannot say on this paragraph on the other term and paragraph 17. After you sign it and date it, can you still adding on paragraph 17? No, I know it's blank, but no. But if owners agree, legally you should using the other form, not go back to the same form and fill in whatever other terms and conditions, okay? But you know what? A lot of listing agents doesn't know. They just fill it in. Shouldn't. So that means, what's the agreement? Agreement means once it's set, it's set. You cannot go back to change it. Just like when you submit a purchase agreement, okay? Before seller sign it, you can change anything you want. But when the seller sign it, done deal. You cannot change a purchase agreement whatsoever. Okay? Yes, you got to issue the addendum. Representative of capacity. The lease listing agreement is being signed by the owner of individual action in the representative capacity as specified in the attached representative capacity signature disclosure, LL. Whenever the signature or initial of representing identified in the RCSD appear to the agreement and other related document in shall be deemed to be in a representative capacity for the entity described and not in the individual capacity, unless otherwise indicated. Owner 1 representing that the entity of which the individual is signed already exists. 2. Shall deliver the broker within 3 days after exclusion of assigning evidence of authority to act, such as but not limited to applicable trust document, portion thereof, letter, testimonial, court order, power of attorney, corporation resolution, or formation document of a business entity. So if you're signing for someone else, like signing for the owner, you gotta either you are the power of attorney, or if you're signing as the company, you know, as a listing agreement, a LLC or corporation, you gotta have to show the documentation attached to it within 3 days. Or if it's a probate. So this one is certainly if it's any individual that you don't need to. It's only this one check. It's only when you sign in, not for the owner. The owner did not sign it directly. So for example, ABC LLC, okay? You cannot just sign ABC LLC. It's because that's a company, it's an entity. It's not a live person. The one on the signature is the owner. It is owner, but I mean the owner has to be a live person to sign. So if the company, you gotta have to get the document for the company who is authorized to sign for any agreement, every agreement. You better prepare those documents, and you have to make sure you see it. And it's for example, if the LLC, the signee, it has to be the manager, the member of the manager. It could be one, it could be two. So either one of them, they can sign the document. You got to make sure the name is correct. Member of a manager, okay? So owner sign. So now they prepare. They get up to 4 owners. And if any additional signature addendum, if they got more than 4 owner, okay, then you gotta need an additional signature addendum. Then the listing agent sign. If you have your coworker, you can put on the bottom. And the very bottom here is 2 brokers with a different company are co-listed the premises. Co-listing broker information is on an attached additional broker acknowledgement. So can you co-op with other brokerage agent? Yes. Yes. You could co-op with other brokerage. It doesn't have to be RE/MAX 2000. So if I co-op with someone else, RE/MAX 2000, and if you guys are Kingston, then I will issue 2 brokers. Yeah, with a different company because different name, or even they are under the same ownership, but it's different name. RE/MAX 2000 and RE/MAX Elite. Oh, but it's the same owner. So different name, different brokerage. Then you're gonna have to issue this. Any question for listing? No? Okay. So I don't have to go through the disclosure of an agency and also the key safe lockbox because those are we went through, you know, on the regular listing already. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Listing period. Sure. But 这个 listing 来讲上面并没有写 ，it's a whole term. Sure, absolutely. As long as 这个 owner willing to pay you 2 years, yes. No. 没写来讲的话 ，they only say we minimum either 5%， 对不对？对啊 ，total rent。 total rent is 2 years rent 嘛 ，of the term 嘛，那就不 total rent 了吗？对啊，就是这里啊，呀、yeah. 对，除非有些 landlord 哦，那可以，yeah， 来说，然后这 installment， 还有 installment 啊 ，not my problem。Hey, too bad。Yeah。有了，所以有些人很多跟我说，那我已经付你这么多钱 ，if I pay you that much, then if the tenant they leave, you know, without finish up the term, so I need to, you know, then do you want to compensate me back? No. Fire 火灾，那个消防局的 law。对 ，fire marshal， 对呀 ，fire law， yeah。因为 fire marshal 会来 inspect it, but I mean, according to the fire law, is 2 person per bedroom。你总不能叫他睡客厅吧？叫他睡厨房吧？睡 dining room。Oh, I'm sorry. You know, I don't think so. You know, 2 people. Yeah. 对，因为怎么样？你不要说 you turn down on them because you are a person to follow the law and reject them. So 你必须要叫他们 then you gotta have to find a 4 bedroom one. You know, for how many people? You get an 8, and this rental property is too small for you. Just for example, 1 bedroom, 4 people. Can you really live in? You can't. 1 bedroom, but 4 people want to live in. Well, yeah. Or you can ask them, how many people are going to live in? I say, the other, 因为人家有时候问 why you ask? I say, well, because it's only 1 bedroom property and we only allow 2 because that's the fire law. Uh-huh. 对，那是 Section 8 tenant. No, they have a housing department. Every county. Yeah, no, they have to apply. Tenant apply. Tenant need to apply to get approval. Then the property has to get inspected by the housing department. That's for the Section 8. 最好不要拒绝，因为拒绝的话就是 legally. 这个 tenant 他来，他跟你说，我是 qualified for 这个 Section 8. Yeah. And say, oh, okay, we do have some other application under review right now. So please stand by. 因为怎么样？因为什么？有没有你不管了，先讲啊，对不对？对不对？你收过这种电话嘛？对不对？那你就要你 be smart to answer. I say, oh, can you stand by because you already have a couple of application under review right now. 那意思就怎么样？哎，对。Okay, be smart. 饭可以随便乱吃，话不能随便乱讲。Okay, especially the oral agreement. See the last 我刚刚有 paragraph 有讲 oral 那个 oral agreement. 所以 don't say anything if you cannot deliver. Don't promise anything if you cannot deliver. If you say something like that, if you cannot deliver, you are lying to your principal. It's against the code of ethics. Yeah. Uh-huh. See? 20 years ago, same thing. When I joined this company, same thing. No way. If you get the property manager, you're fired. You're against the agreement, you're fired. Okay? Still the same. 20 years before, now it's the same. Still. Huh? Business bro? Huh? Business brokerage like what? Business, 什么 business brokerage? Business sale or business? Commercial. Commercial for the sale, for sale for business, selling business. Because you gotta do the one step at a time. Okay, residential, you gotta have to know inside out before you jump to any commercial. 95% of an agent, they all practice residential. Only 5% agent practice commercial. Okay, you gotta have to know the residential first. If anybody want to do it, for any commercial, for the business or something like that, you find an agent co-op with you, whoever know and the business. Do it for sale, for selling the business or selling or lease anything. Yeah. 3B. Okay.
Our agent have to be payable half of.
If the commencement of a lease and a rental is prevailing, okay, by the party.
That means before we receive the commission, right?
Yeah. Before.
Before I have to didn't receive commission.
Let me go through here. 3B. Okay, here's you talk about the compensation. 3B, okay? If the commencement, that means when of the lease, that means the starting date. The starting date for the lease, all right? And the rental prevented by the party and to transaction other than owner, then the compensation which otherwise would have been earned under the paragraph 3A. So when they move in, we should have it, okay? Should be payable only if when owner collect a damage by suit. If you won't get paid until like owner collected after the commencement day, okay? If the commencement day of the lease, okay, then if for some reason the tenant they cancel and tenant agreed to pay the owner for damage, and you are entitled to get up to 1/2, just like regular listing. You're gonna have to wait until the owner collect the damage first, okay, before you get paid. Usually those situations happen is like they already signed a listing agreement and the tenant's already paid. For some reason, tenant, I cannot lease the property after a couple of days or 1 week later. Then you gotta have to compensate. You gotta have to compensate the owner because when you sign a listing agreement, you already, ready to move in, and later on you say, I want to cancel, I don't want to move in. Then I cannot return you all the deposit or security deposit because the agent need to get paid. How do you know? Well, don't worry. Tenant, when they want to cancel, they will cancel. Oh yeah. That's what we usually did. No. But this is, when it's if any damage on that. 这个就是说万一. That's why usually when tenant come, what I did, the worst come worst, cash for key. Give me the check, I'll give you the key. No check, no key. I don't care you sign a lease or not. I gotta see money. No money, no key. Because signing a lease agreement without money, without moving cost, it's not complete. So that's why, 这个来讲的话 usually我们自己来讲的话 before we actually practice on the lease, we try to prevent this situation happen. So we collect the money first, okay, from tenant. I usually it's like when I collect the money, even without landlord signature yet. When tenant sign, then I need to collect the money. But tenant say, I already give you the money. Can you give me the key? I would, before, if the landlord say, yeah, I will sign it, go ahead, give him the key. It's okay. Then I'll sign it tonight. Then I will give him the key first, without the landlord actually sign it, the agreement, because I need to scan it, or I need to send it to the landlord to sign it. But on the other hand, tenant say, I already pay you. Am I entitled for the key? Sometimes, yeah. Yes, they will ask that. Some of the tenant, they won't. Okay, that's okay. They trust me. Okay. But if they have, like, the tenant have their own agent, their own brokerage, then they will say, okay, my company, it has to, when I exchange the check, and we have to get the key. Okay, that's fine. But before we exchange the check, landlord need to sign. I say, well, then on my situation, I'll let tenant sign first, not landlord sign first. I would not let landlord sign first and tenant sign later. No. Tenant, you have to sign first. Because if the landlord sign first, then I have no control if the tenant have any issue. When they sign it, it's a done deal. So I rather have a tenant sign first, then landlord sign later. I don't have to pick up your check first. Say, if the tenant sign, landlord sign, the next day, then we exchange check for the key. That's fine. Sure, I could. Yeah, I could do that, because you can say, because the date received, because I already put as a received for the date. Yeah, and I will say, or you put on the side, they say received for the amount that you initial. That means you're the agent, you receive the money. So at least the tenant, they have peace of mind. Don't tell me I didn't pay you. Certainly the agent, some of the agent maybe took the client's check. Okay, and what happened? You're fired. Do we have that situation happen? Yeah, one agent steal the check. Yeah, and we found it through the our CCTV, because I lost a check. No, you didn't. Somebody steal it. Well, steal it for what? It's not even payable to you. It's payable to Remax 2000. Back then, we collect initial deposit check. Yeah. I mean, some of the agent, I don't know what they are thinking. I don't know what they're thinking. They just ruined the whole thing. So at least we didn't really make the issue big. So just kick them out, tell them to go to other company. So if someone has been fired by other company, usually fired by our company, usually something wrong with it. All right. 对，上限的话是那从以前到现在都一直有上限。Security deposit always have a limit. Unfurnished, maximum 2 months. Furnished is 3 months.
做这个，就是我说还没学会走路才反。
一天到晚的看房子，我一天
很近，要不然你没办法做。
对，我现在就是有几个房子在厨房，我一天要去4、5趟的。看今天一会儿要去。他们都在 Zillow 上，还有 Redfin。
没有人会去想找一种，但是当然也有少数人，
少数人会，懂行的人会。
看着看着。
对，找到一个房客不走最好，少100块200块都没有关系。对，
开门也烦，你搞。
对，我有个房客，
便宜的给你够吧，反正看好走。
最长那个房客住了4年多，我觉得挺好。
就
那种1年1折腾就出来。哇，那更好。那你中间有没有涨房价？
有，
还是可以。
每隔1年会涨。那有些就是平均等1年50。
哦，那还 OK。但我都没有涨，4年多我都没有涨房客的价。
还是可以，只要因为我们一开始租就租的特别。
哦，对，
比我们房子现在还是虽然涨了，但是
比行情便宜。
这样比较合租的。
这样其实房客其实也
不想搬。
对，因为他搬家是一大笔 cost。
Okay, we'll continue on the major part. Lease agreement.
我们公司有没有那个就是 spring renter 的那个？
有啊，我们那个。
可以哈。
那就是那个 credit check 啊。
对 credit check。
online 的，我们叫I think it's about almost $30. You can have the tenant is search by themselves. We given it's called a rent sprees. RENTSPREE. Rentspree.com. So basically, we lock in as an agent. We sign it first. We create a property, okay, as a file. So when you email the link to the tenant, they run their own credit report, their background check, any criminal record, anything like that. Then we can access to look at their report because we are the agent.
那我们创立这个账户的时候是免费的。
没有 tenant, they have to pay themselves. They go through the sign in the credit card. Agent is no agent. We lock in, sign in for free. Yes,
这不需要去 set up， 自己直接可以 sign in。我在记一下，因为要是在我们的网站上面吗
Yeah.
有那个网站。可是它不能用哎，进不了。
Oh yeah, rent free.
怎么写的 RENTSPREE?
I believe. Yeah, that's a rent. I think that's spelled for. Yeah.
Rent space?
No, one word. Rentspree.com.
因为 tenant 有时候给你的 credit report
Not free
是假的。
对 spree, 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 spree. Rent spree. Yeah.
哦，所以他花30块，我就可以帮他。
他们自己上的。
他们自己。
So that one, so the tenant cannot deny because we have a situation. We have them sign a credit check authorization form, but tenant deny the payment. They dispute the payment on credit card payment. Yeah.
So on Lease website is check the tenant history and
Yeah, and the background check, any criminal record.
这个就是对应那个 rental 的，它有那个eviction 的 history 是吧？它之前有过这个历史吗
Yes. Any record 的话都会在上面。
它不是分几个等级的，不是有 physical 的，然后有那个 premium 的 ，premium 就包含它有 criminal 的各种。
那我们都有。我们那个来讲的话 check 的话 when we sign in, we always get on the premium. With the because when we email the link, it's not like any link with the address. Particular, we want a screen for this property, so we have an address. So we create an account with the address, the rent, for the property address. As an agent, it's free. I don't know. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. What happened is like what it would do. We sign in as an account. We create for the property address. Okay, at this particular address. Then when you say send the link to the prospect tenant, you check. You send the link to the prospect tenant. So you gotta have to get the email address from the tenant. So you send this link to the tenant. So when tenant click this link, they run the credit report. So they will attach to this address. So I can go back and see their credit report. They don't have to email it to us. Just like DocuSign. When they automatically. Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. No money, no report. So they cannot deny and dispute. Who entered the credit card number? They did, not us. Yeah. You don't want to fill in any credit report, and sorry. Yeah. Mm-hmm.不过如果说已经有 FED if you already have the for the account anything then no. Mm-hmm. Okay. For the month-to-month residential lease, month-to-month, okay, on the lease agreement, certainly you can fill in the date. I don't know why the clients vanished though. I thought the client is there. I wonder, it's like, how come? I know. The lease agreement, they should. I don't know why the tenant's information is vanished, because this case is already closed. It should have a tenant's information. Do I have other one? No. For some reason. Oh. Oh, right here. Is it? Yeah. No, this is a purchase. Okay, whatever. For some reason, the tenant's information is gone. Disappear. All right, so we filled in the date, landlord's information, and tenant's name right here. And one, property, A, you fill in the address. B, the premises are for solely use as personal residence by the following name of person. You have to list it, whoever live in. How many people? If for 4 people, we need 4 names. Unless a baby, they don't have a name yet. Then you say 1 baby. Girl baby, 1 boy baby. Or if a kid, I need the name too. So no other person will live in. If for someday the landlord come back to check, wait a minute, you told me 4 people, how come I see 6 live inside? They are my relative, they are my friend. Oh, how long can it stay? Forever? Oh no. If it's 1 week, 2 weeks, yeah, it's probably okay. Short period of time. But you just have to reminding that those are the people. So when you ask them and say those are if the people live in and no other people allow you, so you actually prevent the tenant to become a landlord, 二房东, the second landlord. So they cannot share a bedroom to anyone else. That's illegal. When we have them to sign it. So we prevent them to share the bedroom. They lease the bedroom out. Okay. If they lease a bedroom to someone you don't even know, it's not on the contract, then that consider they breach the contract. Then the landlord has the right to evict them. Either they evict it, either the tenant become a second landlord, they evict the tenant they share the bedroom with, or a landlord evict the current tenant, whole family. And that's why we have to serve them another form we call cure or correction, or given a time, 1 week, 2 weeks, or maybe up to a month. Yeah. Who's actually sent me this? Huh. Okay, let's see here. I will talk to you. Hmm? Rent spree, yes. Yes, 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 yes. That's it. Okay. C. The following personal property maintained and pursuing the paragraph 11 is included. For example, if you have a washer, dryer, refrigerator, or any furniture, dining table, whatever it may be, or bedding set, list it right here. If the part of it become a rental for the new tenant, because later on when they return the property back to the landlord, make sure those appliances and the stuff is still there, not moving with them. Okay, unless it's broke down in the meantime. Then if you check, the personal property on the attached addendum is included. I mean, if this space is not enough, you got a bunch of laundry lists, especially if you lease with the fully furnished property, that means with all the furniture like in Asia, then you gotta have to list all the stuff, okay, inside the property, personal property. D, the premises may be subject to local rent control ordinance. So if you lease a property with the rent control, then you better consult with the government, okay, city, and whatever the rent control may be. 2, term. The term beginning on what date? That's the commencement date, all right? So that means is the moving date. What date you start counting the yeah, the rental, yeah. If the tenant has not paid all amount then due, tenant has no right to possess or key to premises. That means money hasn't arrived. This lease agreement, even if signed by the both parties, they cannot get the keys. It's not valid without the money paid in full. Okay, unless Owners agree the installment for maybe security deposit, some of the area.
Yeah. Uh-huh. The also number 2, the agreement is avoidable at the option of a landlord. 2 calendar day after given tenant notice to pay. So if you sign this agreement and tenant hasn't paid, so you can give him what? Notice to pay. PPN. So this agreement is avoidable. That means if you don't pay the money, I don't give you the key. But I want to avoid this agreement, so I do it in the right way. Okay? So it's avoidable the option of the landlord. Landlord want to cancel this agreement. You got to give it 2 calendar day after given to tenants of notice to pay. So when the commencement day, you did not receive the payment, I give it 2 days, PPN, right away. I'll give you 2 days. If you still doesn't pay, then this agreement is gone. Because you did not pay me the money. Why should I give you the key? You have no right to move in anyway. So don't give tenant any key if they did not pay in full. Has to be in full moving cost. Missing any money, even missing $1, you don't get key. And we don't collect cash. Okay, some people want to, can I pay you all cash? No. You buy the money order. Okay. I don't want to collect cash. Everything, moving cost. Now, it may not be 1 month. Sometimes I may collect 2 months, depending on the size of a property or depending on their credit. And the notice may be delivered to the tenant in person or 2 by mail to tenant's last known address. 3 by email if provided by the tenant's application or previously used by the tenant to communicate with the landlord or agent for owner. If a landlord elect to void the lease, landlord should refund to tenant all rent and security deposit. So that means if they didn't pay in full, they pay you partially, but you still cannot give them the key, and they did not continue to pay you rest of the rent, then you cancel them, you gotta have to return their rent or all the rent or security deposit. Okay? If they decide to cancel, if the landlord decide to cancel. So that means is once you get the key to the tenant, it's a done deal. So keys and remote is very, very important. Even, you sign a lease, you can still hold on to it if they have something wrong with the tenant. Or the tenant didn't pay in full, the moving cost. So thoroughly check the tenant before you hand over the key to them. 2A, I would not do it. It's a month-to-month lease. The agreement continues from the commencement date as a month-to-month tenancy. Tenant may terminate the tenancy by giving written notice at least 30 days prior to the intended termination date. Tenant shall be responsible for paying the rent through the termination date, even if moving out early. Landlord may terminate the tenancy by giving written notice as provided by law. Such notice may be given any date. So if a month-to-month, that's for, or if usually when we finish a whole year's term, this lease agreement suddenly become month-to-month agreement. It still has agreement. It's not 1 year anymore. If exceeding whatever the term, maybe if you're signing 2 years, exceeding 2 years, then suddenly this lease become month-to-month. But when it's month-to-month, tenant to landlord is a 30-day notice. But here, how come they didn't say any landlord to tenant? How many day notice? If the landlord doesn't want to continue to lease to the tenant, how many days? You need to give the tenant notice. 60 days. That's by law. That's why. Why they did not specify is because in a short period of time, we can give a tenant 30 days. Landlord give a tenant 30 days. But tenant screaming, we don't have enough time to get out. So they change the law back to 60 days again. So that's why they did not disclose right here. They just, say by law, notice as provided by law. What law? It could be with the rent control law. You want to kick the tenant out, not just give it a notice? You need to pay them to get out. If any place has a rent control, you need, unless they voluntarily get out, they don't get paid. But if the landlord want to kick the tenant out, even they do pay the rent monthly on time. And you still do, because, for example, I deal with the property before in downtown LA. It has a rent control. And the landlord hasn't increased the rent because, his parents or his dad doesn't increase the rent for 20 years. But with the rent control, you cannot double. You cannot double. Back then, I think probably 10 some years ago, each unit they rented, I think less than $400. It's all 1 bedroom, 1 bath units. And that 4 units, I think the listing agent, they asking for about 400,000, 450,000. Then you know what? I say, okay, then if they're month to month. So the only way we want to, we can take that property, we gotta have to tell the landlord to evict all 4 tenants. But we found out, the landlord found out, he got to pay tons of money to evict the tenant. Anybody under 55 years old, I think back then about $5,000 or $6,000 each unit. And if over 55 years old, they got to pay about 8,000 something. Then when it adds up, boy, that's easily another what? $25,000 to evict the tenant. And they only sell the property for about 400. So later on, we call it off, cancel. No. Because with the rent control area, they can only increase the rent. How many percent per year? Do you know? Usually it's the same. They're all the same as a city, each city. I know Santa Ana, now they have a rent control now. 3%. Maximum 3%. So $400 rent, what's a 3%? Yeah, $12. I say, $12? What? You cannot, because doesn't mean you did not increase for 20 years. I can increase 60%. No. It's 3%, not 20 times 3. No. Still 3% per year. So B, lease. This agreement shall terminate, but this is only applied for residential. Commercial, no. Commercial doesn't have a rent control issue. Because I have an office building, same thing, the landlord hasn't increased the rent for 20 years. But I can tell that whoever buy the property, go ahead, raise the rent, double it up. It's a commercial property. They don't have a rent control issue. Well, certainly not in that city either, Rosemead. Yeah, Rosemead doesn't have a rent control. My listing, the 5 units office building, that's the no rent control in Rosemead. B, that's what we usually check mark, the B. Lease, the agreement shall terminate, whatever the date, the maturing date. Okay, if you say lease for 1 year, what date it started with it? But usually I will prorate it on the rent, pay on the 1st. Okay, pay on 1st. Then I will prorate it, whatever the date.
But I know some of the agents, they still want to challenge me that. Last time, I know it's like when I'm in the training, somebody want to challenge me, then I will continue here. We always use the 30 days, 1/30. Tenant shall vacate the premises upon the terminated agreement unless one, landlord and tenant have extended this agreement in writing or sign a new agreement. So I can issue the extension or resigning the whole agreement again. 2, mandated by the local rent control law. Okay. 3, landlord accept the rent from the tenant other than past due rent. If you continue accepting the rent, that means the lease continue. That means become month to month. In which case, the month-to-month tenancy shall be created, which either party may terminate as specified in paragraph 2A. So that means if this agreement after whatever the finish the term, then become month-to-month, then will you follow the rule on A? Okay, the month-to-month. Rent shall be rated a rate agreed by the landlord and tenant, or as allowing by law. All other terms and conditions of this agreement shall remain in full force and effect. So even after the lease term, doesn't mean we don't have a lease agreement anymore. We do. It's just month to month now. So usually when the people say, do you still have a term on the lease? I say, no, it's month to month now. That means the lease term is finished, and now currently it's a month to month. So that means the new landlord or the buyer, when they purchase a property, they have the right to evict the tenant. Just giving a notice for 60-day notice. 60 days. But, okay, don't just verbally tell them. Put it in writing. Okay, as a landlord or owner, you better put it in writing, 60 days, and make sure tenant sign it and receive it. Because I don't want tenants to say, I never received the letter, I never received the email, I never received, no. Usually I will tell the landlord, write a piece of paper and have them sign it. If it's really too far away, send them a certified letter with the postcard return. That means when they certify letter, they sign it and have to sign on the postcard too. That means they do receive this letter. Rent shall mean all monetary obligation of a tenant to landlord under the term of agreement except the security deposit. A, tenant agreed to pay whatever the dollar may be, okay, per month for the terms of the agreement. B, rent is payable advance on the first or any day. It can be set any date if you want to. If the tenant says, I just cannot pay first because I won't get paid until 5th or whatever maybe, then you can put on the every month 5th to pay the rent. But certainly you do whatever the proration when they move in, okay? Calculate any date of each calendar month and is still delinquent on the next day. Due date, if next day considered delinquent. Usually on this agreement, we will on the second page, you'll see that we have a 5-day grace period before we can charge the late charge. But next day considered delinquent day, okay? Delinquent day will still, wait until the 6th day that we have a landlord has a right to charge the tenant for late fee. And the month's rent is advance of the commencement date. Rent for the C. If the commencement date fall on any day other than the day rent is payable under the paragraph 3B, and the tenant has paid 1 full month's rent in advance of the commencement date, rent for the second calendar month shall be prorated, and tenant shall pay 1/30 of a month rent per day for each day remaining in the prorated second month. So that means when you're moving, whatever the day on the first month, you do the proration, but calculate 1/30. Especially when I do the rent on this month. What do? It's only 28 days. I don't use the rent divided by 28 days. No. So do like next month, it's going to be 31 days. I would not divide it 31 days. Always 30 days. That's we calculate do the proration per day. So for example, I have the one we just lease out as on the 22nd. Do I calculate from 22nd to 28? That's 7 days. No. I deducted 21 days from 30. Okay? Because this, I calculate a 30 days, doesn't matter. So whatever the rent, and I divided by 30 and deducted at 21 days. Because the moving commencement day is 22nd. And that will be off by what? 3 days rent. So it doesn't mean this 3 days short. Landlord have to take this 3 day short rent. That 3 days rent is still belong to landlord. But I mean, since we calculate 30 days, so it's the actually it's a tenant short on 2 days to live in. But hey, too bad. Why you rented in February? It's not my fault. If you rented in February, you're short in 2 days because I got to use the 30th day. And I deducted 21 days. I only live in 7 days, not 9 days. So, yeah. If you don't like it, well, then you wait till March to move in. And don't move in now. Okay? Then I continue marketing. You may not get this house. Or if I have a multiple applicant, you don't get it. Next. Yeah. Uh-huh. No. Deducted. Always I deducted 7 days. If the moving day is 8. Yes, the tenant added 1 day. Yes, that's right. So that's why in the same situation as like this month, then don't move in. You can move in on March 1st. You get 1 day. Yeah, but you may not get this property because I may rent it to someone else. Right? Yeah. 这个清楚哈，因为这个上次来讲的话 ，even the experienced agent, I know the license number. 就上礼拜 yeah, last week, when I'm in class, and they text me and say, because they are ready to move in. Then I say, James, how come, we calculated, it's different. I said, well, even his license number is 008. Mine is 013. And he still doesn't know this? Come on. And I pointed out, please read the 3C. And you shut up. Okay, you're right. And he learned. After how many years? How many years? At least 30-some years. It's always there. Since the day one when I practiced, it's there already. This part has never changed. 30's day. So that means whatever you learn today is not known by every agent. So that's why I tell you, thoroughly read it, all the agreement, if you could. Once more, every time, get familiar with that, then you can, you'll be the winner. Oh, like your situation, first month or last month? Last month. Last month, you know why? I always prorate it. If I using first, like your situation, if they're moving the March 3rd, and the moving cost, I probably will not collect for whole months because it's first half month. So I collected only 30 days, deduct 7 days. So I collect 23 days rent plus a moving cost, plus a security deposit. That's what I would do. Last month, then I prorated. I mean, every time you're going to have to pay the rent first, right? But they say after a year later, and I say after 1 year, and they move out. And what's the termination day? Which day I will put? March 31st. Why? I got to make sure exceeding 1 year. I will put at March 31st, 2020, as that's their maturing date, termination date, not 28. If a 28 should last than 1 year, I will put 31st. But on next year, March, I will moving on March 15th.
Too bad. No. You're going to have to finish the whole term. No, 31st. Termination. But it's April. Yeah, if it's exceeding. Okay, but exceeding, okay, that's fine. But if it's exceeding the term and they give you the 30-day notice, say, till like, so I'm moving out April 15th. Okay, fine. But you still pay the full April rent. Then I will refund it to you the second half of April. Because who knows if they delay. Because tenant, they may happen. They delay to move out. Okay? Absolutely. No, I don't believe them. I don't believe any tenant, or I don't believe any landlord. And I don't believe other agent either. Yes. And you cannot using, later on I can tell you, just this. Security deposit should not be used by tenant in lieu of payment of a last month rent. Okay? Because that's a typical agent would do. They use the last month. Hey, that's my rent. No. If you use that, can landlord after them to the small claim court? Yes. You sign. Don't tell me. And it's a bold print right there. Don't tell me you don't understand. So that's why, on the full lease agreement, if you're the dual agent or if you're presenting a tenant, you have to thoroughly explain to the tenant. Otherwise, tenant's agent will be in trouble. And especially listing agent acting as a dual agent, don't get lazy. Explain to tenant. You get paid double N. You have to spend the time with tenant to thoroughly explain this. Or sometimes you need to highlight it on the lease agreement. Make sure you understand. Okay. All the cleaning fee can be deducted. All of them. All of them. The only thing you cannot deduct it is the carpet cleaning if the tenant live in over 5 years. As considered wear and tear item. Painting within 1 year, paid by the tenant. Between 1 to 2 years, half. Between 2 to 3 years, all landlord. Well, usually what I'm doing is like, between 1.5 years, within 1.5 years, we still pay by the tenant. Between 1.5 years to 2.5 years, that's what I usually do. Between 2.5 years to 1.5 years to 2.5 years, half. And usually like 2.5 years or 3 years, pay everything by landlord. Yeah. Same thing. Well, depend on how long they stay. But I mean, but if he consider it's a damage, then you can deduct it. If so many hole on the wall is considered damage to the wall, then deduct it. That's not part of a painting, not part of a touch-up anyway. But usually the painter, they will patch it anyway for you. No. Usually is if the big hole, then definitely is their issue. Texture, you gotta have to redo it, through. That's worse. That's why you tell the tenant and say, look, you did it yourself. I gotta charge you because you messed up my texture. So don't do it. Let landlord do it. Hire the professional. Usually, what they did, they're using like the compound like this, or using hand and stick it in. That's it, done. Then you can touch up. You don't have to do any texture. But the issue is, tenant doesn't know how to do it. You can actually patch it in the hole. But you're using the whole compound to wrap it off, the whole texture. That's it. Whose fault? Tenant's fault.
tenant's fault. So that's why you got to deduct it, charge the tenant. Don't do it. That's why I tell tenant, don't do anything. If you really punch so many holes, please don't do anything. Otherwise, it will cost you more money. Isn't it? Just like your case. It will cost you more money. I said, and I will show you the invoice. You're not happy with it? Too bad. Then you find your own painter. Why you did it yourself? I know they're trying to save some money. But the problem is they patched the whole thing with sometimes the paint didn't even match correctly. Because a professional painter, they will guarantee. Tenant, I don't know who they hired or they did it yourself. Can you guarantee? You don't. Show me the invoice, what you repair. Oh, I did it myself. Too bad. Then I got to charge you right now. I know a lot of argument. That's what happened like that. So that's why, usually I will tell the tenant and say, after you move out, landlord has a right to charge you a cleaning fee. Carpet, it depends on how many years you stay. Touch up for the paint, it depends on how many years you stay. But if anything happened, if you stay more than 3 years, or put it this way, if you have any damage or any wall, the holes, don't do it yourself unless you hire a professional and show me the invoice. Show me the invoice. Same thing when the owner, what they did, all the repair, cleaning, we will show tenants invoice. Those are the deduction. I didn't took your deposit. I spent the money to recondition on my house, right? So you gotta have to show them an invoice. Doesn't matter. They pay. Tenant have to respond to pay in full or half. Also, you don't need to show the invoices. The landlord pay anyway. Okay. But I mean, carpet cleaning. It depends on within 5 years, you still do the carpet cleaning. Then you still show the invoice to the tenant. Yeah, and so do the cleaning. So don't hire anybody without an invoice. All right. Let me go and finish. Overtime. Then we'll come back on the D. Yeah, help me to remember. 3D. Payments. Okay. Because usually the lease agreement, the first couple pages, it's really important, just like our purchase agreement. The first 3 pages, that's most important. And the lease agreement is the first 2 pages because we got 6 pages. Okay. First 2 pages are most important. The rest of them is okay, getting, easier because those are fairly standard. So 2.5 page. The first 2.5 page is more important. Okay, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Thank you for coming.